Samantha's alarm buzzed sharply at 5:10 a.m., casting a cold blue glow in her small studio apartment. She stretched, took a deep breath, and climbed out of bed, her muscles already anticipating the long day ahead. While her friends and neighbors were still lost in sleep, Samantha was gearing up for another day at Peak Performance Gym, her second home and biggest passion. As she laced her trainers and tightened her ponytail, Samantha reviewed her client's schedule in her mind. She loved the sense of ritual in these early mornings, the quiet streets, the empty tram she rode, and the way the city slowly awoke as she passed. Arriving before anyone else, Samantha flipped on the lights and inhaled the familiar scent of disinfectant and worn vinyl. She moved with swift efficiency, inspecting the machines, wiping down benches, laying out resistance bands, and double-checking the day's workout plans. She believed that details mattered. It was part of what made her respected, and sometimes resented, as one of the gym's youngest female trainers. Her first client, Mr. Harris, always arrived early. Despite being decades older and recently recovering from surgery, he greeted Samantha with gratitude each session. "Good morning, Coach," he said, offering a limp wave. Samantha returned his smile, adjusting her tone to encouragement but also caution. "How's your knee feeling today, Mr. Harris? Ready to try a few more steps together?" With each client, Samantha switched roles, a motivator for some, a gentle listener for others, or the firm, no-nonsense coach for the regulars who thrived on tough love. She noticed a new member hesitating by the rowing machine, clearly uncertain where to start. Samantha approached with her trademark calm confidence. "How about I walk you through it? Everyone starts somewhere, and you're definitely not alone." During a rare break, Samantha sipped her black coffee and watched people flow in, mothers with strollers, teenagers with hoodies pulled low, career professionals already checking their phones while jogging in place. She prided herself on remembering every name and every injury. She wanted clients to know she saw them, beyond body measurements or gym goals. A few skeptical looks still greeted her, especially from young men unsure about taking fitness advice from a woman. But years of hard work, early mornings, and patience had proven her role. Samantha handled every doubt with confidence, by being prepared, staying positive, and showing better results each week. By the end of the morning rush, Samantha had resolved a dispute over the squat rack, encouraged a shy client to try free weights, and helped fix a faulty treadmill. Each small challenge reminded her that coaching was more than building muscle. It was about building trust and optimism, both in herself and in every client who walked through those gym doors. Just as Samantha thought the morning would settle into its usual rhythm, a commotion started near the weightlifting area. She glanced over and saw two members, Jake and Alex, arguing heatedly over whose turn it was to use the bench press. Samantha approached calmly, projecting authority without raising her voice. "Hey, what's going on here?" she asked. Jake, red-faced and frustrated, said, "I've been waiting for 10 minutes. He just cut in front of me." Alex shot back, "I had my towel on the bench. Everyone knows that means it's my spot." Samantha listened patiently to both sides before responding. "Look, I understand you both want to get your workout in, but we have rules to keep things fair. Next time, please sign your name on the board if you're waiting. For now, let's set a timer, 5 minutes each, then switch." The two men grumbled but agreed, and order was quickly restored. Several people around the area gave Samantha appreciative nods. She felt a familiar challenge rise inside. Being a woman in charge wasn't always easy, but she handled conflicts by staying firm, clear, and always fair. Afterward, Samantha found a quiet corner, feeling her pulse settle. She wondered if situations like these would ever not bother her. A small part of her always feared not being taken seriously. But she reminded herself that leadership meant dealing with problems head-on and that respect was earned, slowly but surely. Later, as she coached a group class, Samantha noticed those same members from earlier. They followed her instructions closely and even exchanged a quick handshake at the end of the session. It was a small victory, but victories like these made her job rewarding. More than anything, Samantha valued moments where she could turn tension into trust, a skill she was still perfecting, one day at a time. Later that afternoon, Samantha welcomed her next client, Laura, a young woman who had recently joined the gym. Laura had a reputation among the staff as being difficult, often complaining about the exercises and reluctant to trust anyone's guidance. Samantha greeted her with a cheerful, "Hi Laura, ready for today's session?" Laura sighed and crossed her arms. "I don't see why we have to keep doing squats. They're pointless for me." Instead of arguing, Samantha nodded and replied, "I understand. Can you tell me what you'd rather focus on?" Laura hesitated, unsure of how to answer. Samantha patiently explained, "Squats help build overall strength, but if you have another goal, we can adjust your program together." Laura finally admitted, "I just feel embarrassed. I never do them right, and people are always watching." Samantha understood immediately. She had seen this before, self-doubt hiding behind frustration. Quietly, Samantha demonstrated proper squat form, standing beside Laura so no one else could watch. She gave gentle feedback and celebrated every small improvement, no matter how minor. Once Laura saw progress, her mood gradually changed. By the end of the session, Laura was able to finish a full set of squats, and for the first time, Samantha caught a genuine smile on her client's face. "Thanks, Samantha. Maybe it's not so bad after all," Laura said, a hint of confidence returning to her voice. Samantha felt satisfied, knowing this was the kind of victory that truly mattered. It wasn't just about physical strength, it was about self-belief. And if she could help a client walk away feeling even a little better about themselves, she considered it a job well done. As the sun shone through the gym's high windows, Samantha prepared for the afternoon strength training class. Mondays were always the busiest, and today the class was packed, half regular members, half new faces. Among them, Samantha couldn't help but notice a group of young men who seemed skeptical, whispering amongst themselves as she began the warm-up. Samantha had grown used to this over her years as a trainer. New members sometimes doubted her expertise, especially if they'd never had a female coach before. But she refused to let it shake her confidence. Instead, she smiled and started the class with her signature energy, leading everyone through dynamic stretches. Soon, the class moved on to more advanced exercises. Samantha demonstrated clean deadlift form and explained technique in clear, simple steps. She challenged the whole group to lift their form, not just the weight. To encourage teamwork, she organized them in pairs to spot each other and share feedback. During the session, one of the new young men, Tom, insisted he could lift much heavier than he should. Samantha stepped in gently but firmly. "Tom, it's great that you're motivated, but let's focus on form first. When your body mechanics are right, we'll increase the weight." At first, Tom looked annoyed, mumbling something under his breath. But Samantha didn't let his attitude faze her. She corrected his stance, guided his hips and shoulders, and pointed out when he was improving. Slowly, Tom's resistance faded, replaced by a growing respect for Samantha's knowledge. After Tom's final set, he was surprised. Not only had his technique improved, but he was able to lift more than before, safely and comfortably. He nodded, sweat running down his brow, and quietly said, "Thank you, coach. I didn't know it made such a big difference." Meanwhile, Samantha noticed the rest of the class was watching. She used the moment to address everyone. The gym isn't about showing off strength. It's about growing stronger and smarter, together. No ego, just progress, one rep at a time. As the class wrapped up, several members, including the skeptics, stayed behind to ask Samantha for advice on their personal routines. One even asked if she could help him train for a charity marathon. Samantha realized her quiet persistence was slowly shifting perceptions. Each conversation, each corrected movement, became a testament to her belief that skill has no gender. Later, as she cleaned up the gym and prepared for the late evening session, Samantha reflected on the journey so far. There had been struggles, clients who dismissed her or underestimated her, but there had also been victories, clients who believed in themselves because she believed in them. She'd learned that respect isn't just given, it's cultivated through patience and consistent action. That night, Samantha stayed late to prepare personalized plans for a couple of new members who'd asked for her help. As she locked up, exhaustion tugged at her, but so did something stronger, the deep satisfaction that, day by day, she was breaking stereotypes, not just for herself, but for every woman who would follow in her footsteps. By Friday evening, the week's intensity was written across Samantha's face, muscles aching, mind tired, but heart full. As she finished her last personal training session, she noticed something different in the gym's atmosphere. Members smiled and waved as she passed, and even the older, more reserved clients now greeted her warmly. As Samantha packed her gear, the gym manager, Mrs. Collins, called her into the office. Samantha braced herself, unsure whether this was about another technical issue or a complaint. Instead, Mrs. Collins smiled and handed her a handwritten card. "The clients have been talking," she said, "and it sounds like you've made quite an impact this month." Samantha opened the card and found messages from nearly a dozen clients, thank yous for her guidance, notes about newfound confidence, and one from Laura, a simple, "I finally believe in myself." Outside the office, Tom and several others waited by the reception desk. "We are organizing a little challenge event next week, Coach," Tom said, sounding eager but a bit nervous. "Would you lead us?" His tone was respectful now, not skeptical. For a moment, Samantha felt overwhelmed. All the early mornings, the doubts, the small daily battles, it had led here. She realized respect didn't come from being perfect or never making mistakes. It came from showing up, listening, and truly caring about each person's journey. As she gathered her things, Samantha stepped back onto the gym floor. The treadmill buzzed, weights clattered, and the familiar sound brought her comfort. She caught her reflection in the mirror. Tired, yes, but strong. Not just in body, but in spirit. Samantha smiled, feeling the weight of the week lift from her shoulders. She had become more than just a coach. She was a leader, a role model, a symbol that real strength is found in persistence and kindness. And as she turned off the lights for the night, she looked forward to every challenge the next week would bring, knowing she'd face it with the same dedication that had earned her the trust and respect of everyone around her. It had been almost a year since Samantha had first stepped into Peak Performance Gym, nervous and determined to prove herself. Now, on a bustling Saturday morning, she stood by the entrance with a clipboard, watching as the gym filled with a lively mix of regulars and newcomers. Today was special, the first annual Strength for All event, an idea born out of the community Samantha had helped build one interaction at a time. Samantha moved through the gym, greeting each participant by name, cheering on the early morning competitors, and double-checking the safety stations. She remembered when it felt like she had to earn her place with every session, every client. Now, people sought her out for advice, motivation, and connection. The event ran smoothly, but Samantha barely had a second to herself. She organized a team relay, guided an anxious teenager through their first public fitness test, and kept a watchful eye as Laura, now one of the most enthusiastic members, coached a group of kids through basic exercises. Seeing Laura's confidence blossom filled Samantha with pride, proof that patience and support could change someone's life. During the lunch break, Samantha found herself sitting with Tom and several others who'd once doubted her abilities. The conversation had none of the skepticism of the past year. Instead, Tom asked a technical question about deadlifts, and another woman brought up organizing weekly women-only classes. Samantha listened carefully and offered her insights with warmth. She realized these discussions, filled with mutual respect, were what she had always wanted. That afternoon, just as the awards were being handed out, Mrs. Collins gathered everyone's attention. Standing on a small stage in the middle of the gym, she called Samantha forward. The room erupted in applause, an unfamiliar but thrilling sound. Mrs. Collins spoke. "When Samantha joined us, some wondered if she could handle the pressure. Not only has she met every challenge, she's changed how we all think about strength, perseverance, and respect. She shows us that true leadership comes from lifting others up." Samantha accepted the certificate of appreciation, her face flushed but beaming. For a moment, she thought about all the barriers she'd faced: skepticism, resistance, even moments of self-doubt. Yet here she was, at the center of a thriving community she'd helped build. She glanced around the room and saw familiar faces: Mr. Harris, walking more confidently than ever; Laura, encouraging young athletes; Tom, now chatting with newcomers and offering support; and countless others who'd blossomed under her guidance. As the gym emptied out at the end of an unforgettable day, Samantha lingered, putting away equipment, organizing the lost and found, and reflecting on the journey. She realized her greatest strength wasn't in her muscles, her coaching abilities, or the technical knowledge she'd worked so hard to gain. It was in her willingness to care, to persist, and to see potential when nobody else did. Samantha locked up the gym, stepped outside into the golden glow of the setting sun, and took a deep breath. Everything she had worked for, every long morning and late night, every difficult conversation and moment of doubt, had made this moment possible. She walked home, feeling at peace, knowing her work had just begun. For Samantha, and for everyone she inspired, the future looked brighter,